ExxonMobil for underwriting this part of our grand opening. So thank you. Wayne Harms and ExxonMobil, and our program will begin now. Thank you for coming.
Isn't that a thrilling way to start things off?
Thank you to the Kim Kuja Korean dancers for that heart-pounding performance. And that remarkable display of archery was a purification ceremony by Hirokazu Kosaka. What an appropriate way to start a dedication. This style of ceremony dates back to the 11th century in Japan and was used in Zen Buddhist and imperial court ceremonies. I want to thank Mr. Kosaka and his attendant Ferris Smith for helping us inaugurate this wonderful building. Good morning, everyone. My name is Martha Blackwelder, and I'm the Executive Director of the Asia Society Texas Center. The purpose of this morning's dedication ceremony is to open the building and to present it to the people of Houston. Asia Society was founded in New York in 1956 by John D. Rockefeller III, and in Houston in 1979 by former First Lady Barbara Bush and Ambassador William Huffington, with the mission to prepare Asians and Americans for a shared future. That mission could not be more important than today, both globally and locally. Here in Houston, Asians and Asian Americans have been the fastest growing segment of the Harris County population over the past decade, and trade with Asia through the Port of Houston is growing rapidly, while Houston's energy sector has had long and extensive ties with Asia. Houston's links with Asia are not new, but our expanding economic relations and growing population have not received the attention they deserve, and we want to change that. We want to be Houston's gateway to this increasingly important region of the world. We want to be the place that brings Asians and Houstonians together for a shared future. We also want everyone to know that this is a building for all Houstonians. It's a place where people, young and old, from various social and cultural backgrounds can come together to share and to learn about the rich traditions of Asia's past, present, and future. We're also here to celebrate the realization of an ambitious dream. More than a decade ago, our board members made the momentous decision to build a home for Asia Society Texas Center. The organization then was small, but the vision was not. It has been a long road, but thanks to the passion and drive of supporters like Nancy Allen and the brilliance of internationally renowned architect Yoshio Taniguchi, we have behind us a stunning, beautiful new home for the Asia Society Texas Center. I want to thank our capital campaign donors. Without you, we could not have made this possible. We're also delighted to share this wonderful day with so many friends and to hear the remarks from many distinguished public officials. I also want to pause and recognize a special guest with us here today, Charles Rockefeller, who is the grandson of John D. Rockefeller III, the founder of Asia Society. Charles, will you please stand? Now I'd like to turn over the podium to our chairman of the board, Charles Foster.
Thank you, Martha. I want to thank Martha Blackwelder and the staff for putting on this great opening that's been going on for the last several days and will continue over this weekend. In fact, when we finish here today, if you stick around, because you can see an extraordinary exhibition of Japanese firefighters, I think right out here on the lawn. And in this great tent that we have will be full of the types of performers that you've just seen this morning. That will go on for the rest of the afternoon, again as a gift to Houston, to celebrate this great opening, and tomorrow afternoon as well. So tell your friends, come back and enjoy this. This will be the fun part. But as chairman of the board, I want to also thank, as Martha has, our entire board, our boards, because this started a long time ago. The boards have changed somewhat. Our advisory board that have stuck with us, although at times it looked like the impossible dream. And standing here today, in the last few days, walking through the building, it was sort of surreal, because it was something that so many of us had worked for so long, and then to be there, it just didn't seem possible. Having talked about it and being focused on it so long, to see this magnificent new home of the Asian Society Texas Center here in the Museum District. It was very important that we be in the Museum District right here in the heart of Houston, so that we could work collaboratively with other institutions, but more important, as mentioned by Martha, the Asian American communities are so important to Houston that they've grown so fast. According to Stephen Kleinberg, they're still the fastest growing part of Houston. And working collaboratively, we can be a platform for them to further the understanding of Houstonians about the diverse countries and cultures that comprise Asia. So I want to thank the board members that made that possible. The other thing is we have always been a platform for policy and business. In this magnificent new building, if you haven't been to the theater, the Brown Theater, you must go see that. It's got to be the most beautiful theater in Houston. If you've not seen the Rockefeller Collection made possible by Charles's grandfather when he gifted that to the Asian Society when he founded the Asian Society in '56. Go up to the Louisa Seraphin Art Gallery and see that. They're magnificent. So we have the capability of carrying on a much broader mission in terms of bringing the Asian cultures to the Houstonians and even broader audiences. The Asian Society, of course, is a global organization. If we were just a local organization, we could not do what, we could not really completely fulfill our mission. The Asian Society was started in New York. It was for years, a New York-centric organization. Centers were established in D.C., as Martha mentioned, eventually in Houston in '79, in L.A., San Francisco, but we are now a global organization with centers in Hong Kong, Mumbai, Seoul, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and we're delighted to have with us today our co-chairman of the Asian Society Global Family, and they themselves are an example of the change in the Asian Society, because before, with the exception of Roy Huffington, the chairs were really located in New York City. So I'm delighted to introduce our global co-chairs who have spent the last several days with us, although they're very busy people. Ronnie Chan of Hong Kong. Ronnie's also chairs the Hong Kong Center. They just had their own great opening. A very successful developer. We were told yesterday his company has developed up to, I think, almost $8 billion in China. Mayor, we have to have some of that money invested here in Houston, so you got to talk to Ronnie before he leaves. And his lovely co-chair, Henrietta Ford, the 37th Director of the U.S. Mint, held important positions in the U.S. State Department, chair of a very important steel company, and we want to thank ExxonMobil, a member of the board of ExxonMobil. Please welcome Ronnie Chan and Henrietta Ford.
Thank you very much, Charles. I must say that of our 11 centers around the world, this must be the coolest building. If it's the fog or if it's the stone, the wood, the glass, it's a beautiful building. So, Mr. Taniguchi, Nancy, thank you for such a gorgeous building. As you know, Asia Society has many conversations, and the conversations that you begin to hear as you walk through this building between a grain of wood and a piece of rock, of stone, of something that is a video on a wall, are the conversations that will begin to flower and bloom and grow here in Houston. It is an exceedingly important time for Asia and America to converse and to talk and to really meaningfully get to know each other. So this is a great symbol, and can we just thank you, Houston, for an extraordinary center. Thank you.
This is the Asia Society. We have a chair from the United States, wonderful, beautiful, smart woman, American, and then you have a chair from Asia, short, ugly, whatever, not that smart, from Hong Kong. And it just dawned on me as Charles was speaking that, you know, we opened a center in Hong Kong 2 months ago, and the architect we picked is Todd Williams from New York City. It is only appropriate that we should have an American building something in my part of the world, and then have Taniguchi-san, one of the very top, not only in Japan and Asia, but also in the world, should be building such a wonderful building here in Houston. That's our mission. We're here to blend the East and the West, to enable each other to understand the other side much better, so that we can hopefully build a better world for our sons and our sons' sons. I also want to thank the Rockefeller for the foresight that they have had. 56 years ago, it was a very different world. He had the foresight to start this organization to better understanding on the two sides of the Pacific. And as I said yesterday, that was a very simple world. Those were the bipolar world, when basically the world is just the United States among the free world and everybody else. Asia doesn't even seem to appear on the map. But 56 years later, Asia has, with the help of America and other countries, have risen a lot. And the world today is a much more complicated place. In as much as the Asia Society has done a lot, we've achieved a lot. But the need is perhaps even greater today than when Charles, your father, founded the Asia Society 56 years ago. So our work continues. What better ways than to have another center here in Houston? I don't think, Henrietta, that we have plans for the time being to have another physical presence. So for some time to come, New York, Houston, Hong Kong, together with the other 8 centers, we will serve our community, we'll serve the United States, we'll serve Houston, we'll serve the countries in Asia, in order that each other will get to know each other better. I think only with that we will be able to build a better common world together. I want to thank all the Houstonians for welcoming us. We certainly feel very, very welcome here. And I also want to invite you to not just to Hong Kong, but to all the other centers. Join our programs. We are really, really good. Charles Foster, Martha Blackwater, thank you very much. And all the leaders here, thank you very much.
Always wanted to do this. Always wanted to do this. We always thank people, and we couldn't do this without so many people, and there's so many of us that worked on this. But on my part, I couldn't have done it without one person, my wife putting up with me for so many years, Lily Jen Foster. So thank you, Lily. Yeah. Now, it's my personal privilege and honor to introduce a person that needs no introduction, our great Mayor Annise Parker. But I just want to say one thing about Mayor Parker and to tie her in. Her first trade mission was to China. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was with her when she was signing in City Hall an accord of cooperation with the city of Shanghai. She knows Asia and is aware of that. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Annise Parker.
Frantically looking around for my proclamation, blended in with the background on the podium here. I'm happy to see so many Houstonians here today. Today is one of those days that I experience on a regular basis, and perhaps you don't have the opportunity to do that. A day that reminds me what an amazing city Houston is. Arguably the most diverse city in America, but it's not about diversity, It's about what we do with that diversity, how we share that diversity, how we gain strength from our diversity. Today is a very proud day for the city of Houston. This building, in one sense, is a center for community, a place to salute various cultures, but it's really a place for Houston and Houstonians to come together. And whether we come here for silent contemplation, because there are places here for silent contemplation, or whether we come together to learn, to celebrate, to have an amazing gala, as we did Thursday night, really over the top, it's going to be a magnet for the city. And Charles, yes, it is appropriate that it's here in Midtown, in the Museum District, because what we have in the Museum District is a celebration of what we value most about our culture, about our history, and the Asia Society Texas Center fits perfectly into that. I'm glad to see Councilmember Mike Laster here. Glad to see one of my council members here. Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem Ed Gonzalez back there as well. And Councilmember Helena Brown. Thank you for waving at me. These are council members who represent far areas of the city of Houston. Councilmember Adams, who actually represents this area, she and I were in a breast cancer walk a little bit earlier today, and she's still walking. I left early. But we are here, the three council members and I, because we understand the importance of our growing, vibrant Asian community, but more importantly, we understand what this facility can mean to the city. It is an amazing building, but what is more important is what is going to take place inside this building and what it represents as a gift to all of the citizens of Houston and an expression of faith in the future of Houston. So I'm not going to read the proclamation, but I will ask Charles and Martha to come forward so I can officially present it. Therefore, I, Annise Parker, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proclaim April 14th, 2012 as Asia Society Texas Center Day in Houston, Texas. Thank you for this great gift to our city.
Thank you, Mayor Parker. A plug. She talked to you about participation. Join if you're not a member. There are these wonderful membership brochures inside. Right, Eddie? It's now my pleasure to introduce another Rice University graduate. I've got to say that now with two sons at Rice. A person of equal stature who does such important things for Houston. The county judge, for those of you who do not know, the chief executive officer of Harris County. He too has links to Asia. I know a special interest in India. Please welcome County Judge Ed Emmett.
Wow. Somebody said that Thursday night, I believe, when they got on stage. It's my pleasure to represent Harris County here today. But hopefully I represent even more than just Harris County. We're here to celebrate an end and a beginning. We're celebrating the end of many, many years of dreaming and planning, all of which culminated in this magnificent building designed by a magnificent architect. We can't thank you enough for what you've given our community. And for all those people who made this possible so that we could turn it over to his great hands, and to the builder who constructed it. I think we have to mention that too, because it's fine to have the plans, but unless you actually can implement those plans. But we're here to celebrate not only the end of the planning and the construction, but the beginning. And for those of us who have lived in this town and this county for a long time, we remember the changes in this very neighborhood, the demographics that have ebbed and flowed through here, the types of people who have lived here, of all different backgrounds and of all different cultures and of all different colors. And to have the Asia Society choose this place, it's been referred to as the Museum District, and yeah, that's technically correct. And we have a lot of views of the past and the current. But this really speaks to our future. And the fact that it was chosen, this place was chosen as the location, speaks volumes about Harris County, the city of Houston, the state of Texas, because we are a global community, and nothing represents that focus on being a global community more than the Asia Society Texas Center. Thank you for all who did this. My pleasure.
I'd like to be able to introduce our Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, but to the fact that Congresswoman Lee had to return to Washington unexpected. She's represented here today by District Administrator Michael Halpin, and so we be sure, Michael, to give her our best wishes, and I know she would like to be here in spirit. I was just going to acknowledge I've worked with Sheila. She's taken some tough votes. One of the toughest was voting for her in this district was for permanent normal trade relations with China, but I'm sure she's with us here in spirit. But now it's my pleasure to introduce someone very important too in our community, someone that knows China. I remember seeing him bicycling one morning through Tiananmen Square. State Senator Rodney Ellis, we're in his district. No one does a better job for Houston and Austin, and no one is more of a, even though he's in Austin, he's a true internationalist in so many ways. Welcome, Senator Rodney Ellis.
Thank you very much, Charles, and I'm so honored to be here today. I too, with the county judge, I'm very proud that you picked this location because of this building. This is now the gateway to the Houston Museum District, and we're so very proud of that. I have had the privilege of going to China, to other parts of Asia on many occasions. I think on our last trip, not only did we go to China, but we also went to South Korea. And Charles is right, I do work in a bicycle ride wherever I go in the world. One of the most difficult things for those of us who are in public office to do is when we have to speak to young people. And whenever I go to an elementary school, it's interesting trying to figure out, Mayor, what to say to them. I'm sure you've gone through that. So sometimes what I do is I ask kids, if you just had to guess, there's no reason why you would know, but if you had to guess what race or what ethnicity most people in the world are of, it's interesting when you try that, because most children define the world by themselves. When I ask the Anglo kids, the white kids, what do you think most of the people in the world, what? Hands go, just like us, just like me. If you ask the African American, the black kids, just like me, the Hispanic kids, even if you ask the kids of Asian ancestry, they say, well, just like us. What's interesting to note is that if you were to count the world's demographics based on where we live, 60% of the people in the world live in countries that are considered part of the Asian world. Now, it's interesting when you think of the dynamics, the demographics of Texas. There are only 4 minority or non-white states in America, first being Hawaii, second being New Mexico, third California, The fourth one is Texas, Mr. Rockefeller, not New York. The fifth will be either New York or Florida, depends on which one. Folks go back and forth. Wealthy people move from New York to go to Florida. Bottom fell out of the economy, they go back to New York. For some reason, Illinois may be fifth, but all three will fall. In fact, the demographics of our country eventually will very much reflect the demographics of Texas and those other states. That's why this museum, that's why the Asia Society having this building is so important. I'm also glad you're at this location because most museums you go to is interesting. Most museums are just built to attract people from that particular group. One of the great things we do in Houston is we get people who are not from that group to go to that museum. And that's really what makes us understand and appreciate our great diversity in cultures from all around the world. And I want to encourage you, Charles, and other members on this board to make sure, obviously you work your base, which is 60% of the people who are populating the world based on landmass, but make sure other people come to this museum and understand the great culture and the great history that Asian countries have given us. It would only be appropriate, of course, if I give you a resolution, but I'm not going to read it either. But I do want you and your chair to come up for a second, and I'll present you a flag. And I want to make this point. Now, sometimes when we politicians give these flags, you got to watch us now. They always say the flag flew over the U.S. Capitol. Sometimes it's on some airline. Won't call any names of airlines, Mayor. We got enough of that going on right now. Flying from one city to another. I saw this flag fly over the Texas State Capitol in honor of this great day. And to make the point how significant the Asian world is to us. Last time I did a trade mission with the mayor, he was there, I think you were there, I think it was Bill White, we were in Dalian. We gumbait ourselves to death. And for those of you who drink, some of you were really saying some nutty stuff. And when I gave the flag that flew over the Texas State Capitol to the mayor of Dalian at that time, he just fell out laughing. Mayor Parker and Mayor White said, "What did you say to that guy?" I said, "I noticed that the flag was made in China." Congratulations. I hope this is a great memory of this great occasion.
Now I'd like to invite to the podium two of our most important individuals here today. I think without these two individuals, none of us would even be here. Our head cheerleader and largest, most generous donor, Nancy Allen, and our architect extraordinaire, Yoshio Taniguchi. Please come together to the podium.
Miracles do happen. I can't believe it. When we started this 12 years ago, that was before Yoshio, I really didn't know what an RFP was. That's a request for proposal. Gosh, I've come so far. It's amazing, and it's a miracle, and I'm so thrilled to be here today with my boss, best friend, Yoshio. He has designed the most beautiful building, and I hope all of you, I've heard, I even practiced. I knew all those things everybody said about Houston and diversity and international and the museum district. Lucky you don't get to hear them again. I'm shortening this speech. But I will tell you that to walk through this building is the most exciting thing. I go in the door, and I see the beautiful harmony, proportion, and elegance that Yoshio has designed. I walk up the switchback stair. I see a new view. I walk down that hall, and yet another one. And then I walk into the water garden terrace and see the Infinity Water Garden. And you can see the city of Houston behind it. And then you go on and you see the Liu Fan Sculpture Garden, and then you look to your left and you see the exhibition space. Now you can go back down the stairs and into the wonderful entrance hall and go into the Brown Auditorium. Yoshio told me today he designed this building in 3 levels, the bottom, the middle, and the top, so that people could really see each other. He says you don't really see each other when you're on one level together. You see each other from above, below, and at the same level. So this is what his building is. I feel that he said there are 2 words for beauty in Japanese. I'm going to save you that I'm not going to pronounce those words today. I've done it wrong several times. But one is about a clean, superficial beauty. This building has that, but also there's another one. And it's about a building that has a feeling of beauty in your heart. That's what it does for me. I'd like to introduce you to the man, the outstanding man that has done this, Yoshio.
Thank you very much, Nancy. After many professional speakers, as an architect, it's very difficult to make remarks. But I hope my architecture by itself speaks for me. My wife and I are so honored to be here today. First of all, I would like to I'd like to express my profound congratulations for the completion of Asia Society Tech Center building. It has been almost 8 years since I was given this wonderful opportunity to design this significant project. During this time, I was able to receive many supports from many people, and I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all those who supported me. I made a list of the people, those who have supported me throughout the project, but the list became too long. So please allow me to select one person to represent from the name of the list. This person was a member of a selecting committee member in the beginning, and this has listened all my wishes and continued to support me to this day. This person is you. Nancy. Thank you so much, Nancy. Well, I have worked on many projects in the past, but I have never had such a wonderful client before. From now on, I need Nancy for all my projects I'll be working on. Last year, March 11th, Japan was hit by a huge earthquake, as you remember. After this tragic event, we have received many support from all over the world. We Japanese are truly grateful to all those people reached out to us. One of the most memorable support we received was Operation Tomodachi from the US military. Tomodachi means friendship in Japanese. Right after the earthquake, the US military arrived at the devastated area from both sea and land, helped many Japanese people, those who were affected by this devastation. Well, that was a very tragic event, but we again realized the magnitude of the importance of international cooperation. Today, Asia Society Texas Center will officially open. I hope that Asia and the US will come close more together, and that it will take on an important task of nurturing international cooperation through this peaceful and cultural building. Thank you very much. Thank you.
In a moment, we're going to have a ribbon cutting, but before I do, it's my privilege to introduce a pioneer in terms of the political world and Asian American relations. First Asian American elected citywide to City Council, Mayor Pro Tem, one of our co-vice chairs of the Asian Society Texas Center, and by coincidence, he also is co-chair of a little law firm called Foster Kwan, which happens to be the second largest global immigration law firm. Please join me in welcoming Gordon Kwan, my law partner.
Now, Charles had asked for a 15-minute advertisement at this point, but I think I'm going to pass on that. On a more serious note, let me just say this truly marks a watershed moment for the Asian community in Texas. I know when my parents first moved to Houston over 50 years ago, we were less than 1/2 of 1% of the overall population. Some said we were insignificant, but today I think we certainly show that this community is significant and a major contributor to our community here in Houston. It's indeed a moment where we can look back at our history and a people that at one time were considered to be excluded, to be inferior, undesirable to America, have now shown their contributions to our community and our state. So proud of this building that in the future generations will see the history, the art, the culture of the Asian and Asian American community. It's a great story that will be embodied in this building and preserved for generations to come. I just want to take a moment to thank each of you who have helped make this moment a reality. Thank you very much.
Last, but as I say not least, a very important person. We're in his state representative district, but that doesn't really come close to describing his role in this. State Representative Garnett Coleman was very supportive early and often. He was very supportive in terms of helping us with Midtown redevelopment funds that played a very important role in this. Garnett himself has ties to Asia. I did not realize, but I think it was either his grandfather or grandmother was born in Japan. So please join me in welcoming State Representative Garnett Coleman.
Well, this is very exciting. You know, museum district, we have to do this. And we just call this the hood. And according to the newspaper, it's a transitional neighborhood. I always thought it was cool the way it was, but, you know, we'll take that. First of all, there were a lot of people that contributed to the Midtown investing in this cultural facility. The county, the city, the school district, Senator Ellis, El Franco Lee, all of the people who participate in the Midtown Redevelopment Authority. The idea that a redevelopment authority can be part of creating a cultural and a business connector to another part of the world, I think is beyond what anybody thought that it would ever do. But it's so exciting to be a part of that. So I'm here to represent myself, but more importantly, the board of the Midtown Redevelopment Authority, whose vision it was to say, you know, we need to promote Houston, as the mayor said, but we need to promote also the ethnicities that are here. Now, okay, I have to see, the politician always has to do this, as Rodney says. You know, my wife's grandfather was full Filipino. And my grandmother was half Japanese, half Cuban, so her father was Japanese. And when we say we have diversity, sometimes it's in us. And so, you know, this is a proud day for that part of my heritage that I know less about. But it's right here in the district that I represent, in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And thank you for choosing this area. And thank you for making residents in the hood. Thanks. One quick thing. Eddie Allen and we've known each other since our kids were in school together at Poe. And it's exciting to meet his mother, and thank you for what you've done for this community. And please, thank you for the architecture. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Representative Coleman, and thanks to all of our speakers today. We really are truly blessed. We now have arrived at the moment we've all been waiting for, the ribbon cutting that marks our opening to the public. I do just want to remind you that immediately following our ribbon cutting, we are starting our festival, so it's going to become quite dynamic over there in about 2 minutes. But now helping us with the ribbon cutting will be Nancy Allen's grandchildren, Jenny Allen, Kendall Allen, and Morgan Allen, and Charles and Lily Foster's son, Anthony Foster. So now I'd like to invite all of our speakers and Charles Rockefeller to join me on the stage. And let's line up and get our scissors and get this thing done.
Hey, Douglas. Douglas, you can take the podium down? Podium down, yeah. There you go. Photographers down a little bit.
Thank you.